Welcome back to another edition of your University Students Forum. I'm your host, Rosahra Gomez. Today we are all the way at the Berkama campus to grace the SoSHSA Week 2021 under the theme Breaking Barriers Through Unionism, to look at the importance of unionism and its relevance towards national development. And you can follow us to look at the program and how it can contribute towards national development of the Gambia, with the humanitarian students to give their highlights and what importance, and the guest speakers, what they have to give us in looking at breaking barriers through unionism. Thank you.
The council members of the 16th Executive Council of SoSHSA, members of the organizing committee, and all ladies and gentlemen, and the entire student body present here today, warm greetings to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, these handsome and beautiful ladies we see right here on the high table are honored in our eyes. And we are privileged to see that such men and women of such a caliber are here with us today. Witness our first speaker on stage today, who is someone no other than Dr. Abdul Karim Kamara, Dean of School of Arts and Sciences.
When you take a look at the theme, we say breaking barriers through unionism, but there is more to that. It is subdivided into some other components. But the first remark I want to make is that you are on the right track. You are on the right track because as students in the humanities, we are supposed to be initiating dialogue. I don't know what the speakers have in mind, but all I can say that we need to unite in order to fight against a very important barrier. And what is that barrier? In my own audit, we need to have what it takes for us to really acquire knowledge that will make us very useful participants in the fight against, you may call it poverty, but it's not just the poverty that has to do with our bellies. It also has to do with the poverty that will help us get the requisite knowledge for us to be able to fight against capitalism. And to be able to fight the capitalism is not that it's money it takes. Money is not all. We also need social capitalism. We need the knowledge to be able to do that. So I'm sure whatever you are going to hear here this morning and afternoon is going to be in line with that, with just what I've said. As students, we always expect you to at least demonstrate to us and the public that the UTG and you yourselves are doing a good job. It's not just about giving you, asking you to write tests and that. We need to demonstrate practically that at least we have learned something in this university. And that is what we expect to see in the course of the 5 days or 7 days you are going to be here to organize your program. Seize this opportunity to thank particularly Professor Gomez, who I believe will leave us shortly after his speech, for making time to be here with us, and all the other members of the high table. I want to stop here so that we give enough time to our speakers, bearing in mind that at 2:30 we have to resume our classes. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, before moving to the next speaker, I would love to acknowledge the presence of this beautiful and handsome media persons right here with me. I know, whatever I say, they will transcribe it. And obviously you realize that these are talented individuals. So we acknowledge the presence of Elite Media Production, and also the presence of Beta Visual Production. Yes, you're right. So sorry for that. The next speaker we have should be our Vice President, Honorable Aminata Sise. Please join me and give a round of applause to
members of the high table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and all other protocols respectfully and duly observed.
Good morning. Today marks an important day in the history of SoSHSA. Over the years, the School of Social Sciences and Humanities Students Association has been contributing immensely towards national development and has registered historical achievements. The SoSHSA Week is an annual event organized to promote vital activities with gears towards national development, and this year's theme is Breaking Barriers Through Unionism. The power of unity is needed for survival. By uniting, we enter into balance between nature and awaken a positive vibe for efficiency and effective results in whatsoever we do in life. Unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved, which drive us to the theme of the SoSHSA Week 2021. The SoSHSA Week is an opportunity to learn, develop new skills, and enhance formative developments for students to explore and participate, as it entails the following activities, ranging from blood donation drive, community outreach, cultural day, research day, sports day, beauty pageant, and many more. On the blood donation drive, students will be donating blood, as well as known that blood is the most precious gift that anyone could give to another person. A decision to donate your blood will save a life. According to research, every 2 seconds, someone in the hospital needs it to survive. Then the next activity, which is community outreach. Community outreach is about giving contributions and helping those who cannot help themselves. Community outreach also allows us to influence younger generations to give back to the community. It also helps the community by providing informal counseling and social support, acting as advocates and connecting people to services. This year's target for the community outreach is at Katong, whereas we will interact with important historical centers and personalities in the country. The same day, we will have a dialogue with the police and immigration on security-related matters and to build a sense of solidarity between civilians and security personnel. The next of the activities is the research day. Research plays an important role in discovering new things. Research can find answers to things that are unknown, filling gaps in knowledge, to build knowledge and to facilitate efficient learning, to understand various issues, to know the truth and prove lies, and to seek opportunities among others. It also helps students with information gathering, discovering, uncovering, exploiting the key to efficient development and addressing problems. To the next activity, which is the Cultural Day. The Cultural Day is a day set aside to celebrate our beautiful culture, to foster respect for other cultures, celebrating our differences as well as common interests, and promote engagement in contacts with others and build strong diversity communities. And to the next activity, which is the beauty pageant, the Face of SoSHSA. The Face of SoSHSA gives girls additional skills that they can use in their lives growing up. From competing, it gives them more confidence, develop social skills and personalities. In beauty pageants, there are many different values that women can learn from and use to better herself in her careers in the future. Face of SoSHSA is meant to empower women who has a vision of making themselves stronger and better and empower other women to do the same. In addition, it is also provide every young woman of SoSHSA the opportunity to further develop their talents, to identify potential weaknesses that they need to improve on, to understand themselves better and learn more things about what they want to do in future as a way of direction and a path. Together, in conclusion, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending and call the same attendance or more on all other events to make a SoSHSA Week a success. Together, we can make a history, just as stipulated in this year theme of the SoSHSA Week, which is breaking barriers to unionism. On this note, in my position as the Vice President of the 16th Executive Council, I declare the SoSHSA Week 2021 open, and I wish you all fun and fulfilled and fruitful SoSHSA Week 2021. I thank you all.
Thank you very much. And in absence here, extend our gratitude to the members of the 19th Executive Council of the SU, and we do appreciate your efforts to be here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, it's high time for us to listen to men of wisdom, men of timber, fiber, and caliber, men of extraordinary wisdom. And when they speak, we believe that on the theme of today's discussion, breaking barriers to unionism, we will have the first guest speaker for today, who will take us through breaking barrier in our socio-economic division to unionism. So we decided to have the topic in three folds. We look at how do we break barriers in our social perspectives, in our economic dimensions, likewise in our political trajectory as well. And Honorable, the former Secretary General and Minister of Presidential Office, Honorable Mamadou Sabali, will take us through the ways in which we can break barriers in our socio-economic division through unionism.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Master of Ceremony, I must start by expressing my admiration with your dexterity, with the most powerful tools ever invented. Prof. Gomez and Nana Gray Johnson would call that weapon the logos. Female, yeah, you guys, I don't think I need to make a speech here, Prof. All the barriers have been broken. Sarakule sunkuto tata karambungoto. Aketa association la presidenti. Bari bunkola kamune batu saying. You should clap for her, please do, clap for her. And she gave a good speech too. This is the Brikama Compass of the University of the Gambia, of the Gambia College. This is where I took my first steps into unionism. In 1992, as a representative of St. Peter's Technical High School, I was here to attend the Gambia Students' Union Congress. Notable people I met there, I remember, is Mami Asin Sar of Starfish, represented St. Peter's as well. I remember the government spokesman, Ibrahim Sankare, was there at the time, very vibrant, very vocal. I think there was a Sala guy, Ahmad Sala, I think. Really, we had a lot of hotheads at the time into unionism, and I think it was cool. You know, I can't emphasize enough the importance of unions. But like our good brother PLO Lumumba would say when we met in Kigali about 2 years ago, talk about Pan-Africanism, he believes just like when you talk about a religion, you have to talk about the prophets and the disciples. He believes when you talk about Pan-Africanism, you must talk about the Nkrumahs as the prophets. But who are the prophets and the disciples of Gambian unionism then? How can we mention it without mentioning the Reverend E.F. Small? Because if I don't, Prof will come and take the mic away from me. As unionists, I think you should file a lawsuit against the Ministry of Higher Education that giving more resources to science is discriminatory. You are laughing. You think I'm joking? I am not. That's the first barrier I think you guys have to break. I mentioned Badra and he's telling me I have 5 minutes. I'll not mention him again. I know he's your boss. I mean, the first barrier, you asked me to talk about breaking barriers, right? In our socio-economic what? Development. Who are looking for scholarship? It's poor people. There is a barrier between the rich and the poor. How do we break the barrier? By uplifting the masses. We need to give scholarships to give people, regardless of whether they choose science, arts, or whatever. So the first barrier you guys have to break as SoSHSA is to go ahead and break this barrier, this discriminatory barrier, this socially debilitating government policy of granting more scholarships to science students, neglecting students pursuing the social sciences. Go and file a lawsuit. I want to see this union do that. At least Seth Matijau and his colleagues have demonstrated to us that activism can go beyond the high podium of rhetoric down into the trenches of praxis. It was a fundamental turning point in our history that a group of young activists went to the National Assembly, went to the Supreme Court, filed a lawsuit, and won. They won against sitting National Assembly members who allocated themselves funds for loans from our national budget. I think this definitely should be a game changer in our activism and unionism. I want to thank and commend SoSHSA and the authorities at the University of the Gambia, especially those heading the arts and humanities, and to tell you that you are on the right course. Arts and humanities are important. I'm not saying science is not important. By the way, I have a first degree in mathematics with a heavy concentration in physics. But what I'm saying is that if I had Mo Ibrahim's number, that guy who has millions, and he wants to give it to retired African presidents, I would just tell him to stop wasting these precious funds on retired African heads of state. Invest the money in teaching young Africans the power of words, that's the arts and the humanities, and they will change the destiny of the continent very soon. Let the past bury its dead past, and let us focus on tomorrow. When God desired progress and development of the human race, he sent Jesus Christ with what? The Logos. Some say he is the Logos. This is an ample lesson on the power of words, on the power of the arts and humanities. Had God willed, he could have reincarnated David, the man who holds the metal and makes it melt. David could have come with technology to help Jesus to change the world. But God said no. He sits above and he knows, and he decided to bring Jesus Christ with the power of words. Words are powerful. Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitabu la Rayba Fihi Hudan lil Muttaqin. God brought us guidance and its words. I'm not saying technology is bad, but, and people are saying now coding, we should spend money on coding, yeah, this computer code. No problem. I don't have a problem with coding, but you know, it's coding that brought us the hydrogen bomb or the atomic bomb. It's a more rudimentary coding then. Go and do your computer coding only when you have the right code of ethics, so that your coding will not make the world a worse place. And that code of ethics can only be taught and applied to the science, arts, and the humanities. This is very important. We know Steve Jobs, who made my iPad and my iPhone and all these fancy gadgets. He's a scientist, but his connection with the arts is amazing. From his trips to India, to his attachment to poetry, to meditation, to all sorts of arts and humanities that informed his choice and his design of such beautiful, beautiful gadgets that have made the world a better place. They all done through the fine arts, the humanities. So I want to see you break barriers. I saw Badra Diouf went to Kanilai Institute of Science and Technology, and I think that's a good move. That institute should be revived. But why can't SoSHSA go and tell Badra Diouf to go and put the Kian Keneba Institute of Fine Arts and Humanities? We need it. I'm serious. It's not a joke. Is there any institute of fine arts in this country? Humanity is progressing as an entity, biologically, socially, psychologically. We are becoming more and more sophisticated. The pyramid of needs goes up. Our needs, our wants, what we need to survive in this complex information age is the arts and humanities. So it's about time your union breaks those barriers and calls for the Kian Keneba. And I'm saying, oh, the Sarahule, what's the most famous Sarahule town? The Alonghare Institute for the Fine Arts and Humanities. What I want to say is you are on the right course. Your course of study is not inferior to any other course of study. In fact, the future of the world lies in the arts and the humanities. If you study it well, be respectful with it, and apply it with sincerity and with creative energy. This is what is going to transform our society, from drugs to guns, rape in the society. Technology is going to fix that. It's the arts and the humanities. It's religion. It's culture. It's culture. We need to dig deep into this treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom left here by people we call illiterate, but their lives were better than ours. They don't have diabetes and these tumorous cancers left, right, and center, hemorrhages. No! Life has been better. My challenge, he said, you are doing research right now, and I'm interested in that. I'm not saying all the old guards should go, but your research here could inform policy, and I have witnessed. I interact with a lot of UTG students coming to me, fundraisers, going to Mauritania, Bissau, Kansala. I think these are wonderful adventures. You may not fully appreciate their value now, but if you become as old as I am, and trust me, I'm old, boy, I'm very old now. I can't even play football. When you become as old as me, really, you will come to know the value of what you are doing now. And like Usman said, the value of what you are doing, the Gambia needs it right now. So when I grow up like you guys, I want to be a member of SoSHSA. Congratulations on this beautiful initiative, and thank you. God bless you all.
To invite a man who has inspired me. In only one occasion, that Gambia has lost its history. And that the history of the likes of Edward Francis Small, the likes of our freedom fighters are no more observed in the younger generation. And then I stood upright, and since that day up to date, I have never missed that lecture of that certain cost. So ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome. Join me to welcome. If you know who the person is, just mention the name for me. Join me to welcome. Okay, you're not sure. Join me to welcome Professor Per Gomez
of the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Kamara, the President of the Student Union, Honorable Usman Jasi, my brother and friend, Honorable Mamadou Sabali, the President of SoSHSA, President of SSA, Vice Presidents of SoSHSA, and representatives of all the different sub-associations, students here present, and brothers and sisters from the media. It's good to be back. It's good to be back because I served this school for 10 good years as dean. So to come back here again to Trera said it's an emotional moment, but you can imagine also that yes, though I'm still connected with the school because I refuse to abandon the classroom, so that every day, at least once every week or twice every week with 2 courses, teaching, so that helps me to know what operates the classroom, and I will not miss that opportunity. And because at the end of the day, wherever we are, everything depends on that great guy that, I withdraw that statement, that person out there, that great artist out there that Honorable Sabali mentioned earlier on, that he decides and he has the final say, and he can take us to wherever he wants. And today he has taken us to the DVC academic station, but then anything at any given time, he can close that chapter and we can go back again to the classroom. So academics must always understand that the classroom is the base. But when I look at the way the story is narrated, then I saw also some of the when I went to their museum, then I understand that there's need for us to preach peace. We don't want to have the same thing, but we need to move on. That was in 1994. The genocide. But then Rwanda is above us now. In 94, they killed approximately roughly the population of the Gambia at that time. How comes, and I want to ask you that question, how comes that in 2021, after they killed more than roughly the population equivalent of the population of the Gambia at that time, how come that in 2021 Rwanda is ahead of us? How comes? What did you do What did you do with your development, with your independence? What Edward handed over to you? And I will ask you this question, and that's where I will conclude. And your MC must have heard it in my class. And I will give it to you also. If Edward was to come, because over there I told them to write an imaginary letter. An imaginary letter to Edward Francis Small. Write to Edward. Tell him the Gambia of today. Tell him what you've done for that legacy. What him and his group, what they handed over to you. What have you done with that Gambia? What is the Gambia of today? Have you betrayed the cause? Or are you on course? Tell him about our socio-political challenges. Tell him about our economic challenges. Tell him about all our problems that we are facing now and who is responsible. Tell him, but don't forget, because the tendency is also, is the other one, is Mobudu Sabali, is Dr. Kamara, is Usman Jassi, and so on and so forth. But don't forget to tell him about yourself. The role that you played and you are playing in this journey. What have you done to correct things? Small will be very happy to hear from you. On that note, until I hear from Small's response, I end my case here. Thank you very much.
So finally, in today's itinerary, we will have the closing remark from the President of the 16th Executive Council of SoSHSA, Honorable Andrew Mendy. And then we will have the vote of thanks from my humble self to the RCMC. Some of you may call me as Ultimate, but my real name is Seaman. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know the activities have not been enough. Today is just an opening ceremony. We promise you that tomorrow in the blood donation drive and the health seminar, you will witness another landmark and scar in your academic endeavors. The third day in the community outreach, we want all of you to be here on time. Board these beautiful buses and let's fly to the sky, to Khartoum. And then we will talk to them about community policy. So President Andrew Mendy, Mr. President Andrew Mendy, if you are not available, I think I will skip you and go to my vote of thanks. And that would be very unfair to my activities here. So ladies and gentlemen, here is the man behind the success of the 16th Executive Council of SoSHSA. Here is the man who controls all the ministers we have in our council. Here is this dwarf and short man with a long and very broad sense of direction and sense of reasoning. And again, here is this handsome man who has controlled all the stubborn ministers we have in the Executive Council. So, Mr. President, thank you very much for being such a servant.
Thank you.
And then the floor is yours.
Just like to congratulate you all for coming, and we hope that we have a fruitful week ahead. And thank you all so much. The 16th Executive Council has worked so hard to put all this up, despite that we've been faced with so many challenges amidst the global pandemic, but with God's sustaining grace, we are able to push through. And we thank you all. We wouldn't have been successful without all of your collaboration and cooperation. And we thank you all so much for witnessing this occasion, and we hope that we have a fruitful week and an enjoyable one for that matter. So thank you so much. I will always tell people that once you gain scholarship, once you gain the knowledge, it should be able to reflect your society. As Prof. Gomez had earlier alluded on, that scholars are meant to reach out to society. Scholars are meant to showcase the value of their education, and that should be the core objective of every UTG student. So you should be able to reach out to the communities and provide workable solutions towards nation building. So the society cannot develop if we young people at the University of the Gambia are sitting at our comfort zones and not reaching out to the communities. So it's high time that we rise up on our feet and reach out to the communities and educate our parents, educate our siblings, educate necessary stakeholders. As we all know that we are in a critical moment right now ahead of the 2021 elections, national elections. So it is prudent upon us as UTG students to go and register so that we can be eligible to vote in the upcoming elections. So exercise your civic responsibility, exercise your civic duty. It's your duty, exercise it. Your vote counts a lot in the upcoming elections. So thank you all so much for witnessing this. And please stay tuned. The Welfare Ministry is bringing food, snacks, so that we can have an enjoyable time. And I hope that you all are stay blessed. Thank you all so much for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, standing right here, looking at such magnificent, beautiful, extraordinary, and magnanimous faces right here with me. And in my capacity as the MC of today's occasion, I want to say thank you all for being so kind. Thank you all for being so loving. Thank you all for being so patriotic to SoSHSA. And thank you all for your selfless service to making sure that today's occasion comes into a success. And again to say, this is just the beginning of the beginning. It's not the beginning of the end. That is to say, there are more events unfolding. Tomorrow will be the blood donation drive and the health seminar, which will start by 10 o'clock. In the third day, we will have our community outreach to Khartoum, which will also be by 10 o'clock. We shall depart by 9:30. On the fourth day, we will have a cultural day and a trade fair. On the fifth day, we will have a research and sport day. And finally, on the sixth day, we have the Feast of SoSHSA, who will be the next Feast of SoSHSA. Is it going to be me, or will it be you?
The of the departure time is 9 o'clock, sir. The meeting time should be 10 o'clock at Khartoum.
Okay, so I've been told that departure time for the community outreach on Wednesday is scheduled to be 9 o'clock. So meaning, if you come a second after 9 o'clock, you will not meet us in the school. We know that sometimes we have the notion that it is Gambian time. This time there's no Gambian time. It is Gambian time with West African time. So we're going by the time.